I'm just going to read the quote that he posted on his IG, and there's a picture of some staffed workers in masks at a theme park. He said, here's Lewis, Cameron, and Caitlin, and they just turned away an autistic child at Disney World because he didn't want to wear a mask. The child thinks the mask is suffocating. The child also has no idea why it is even a requirement. Not to mention that kids under 2 don't have to wear a mask. These guys have completely ruined my family's trip. We came out here 30 plus for my daughter's B-Day, and they turned my little cousin away. He can't even enjoy the experience anymore. His little cousin is autistic, so I guess he felt like he was suffocating if he was to wear a mask, and they wouldn't let him in. Goes on to say, the new world has zero to do with anyone's safety and everything to do with control and compliance. So he was pretty thrown off and turned off by that. By them. I don't think Joey is necessarily I wouldn't put him in Kyrie's area in terms of being a flat earther. He's definitely an independent thinker, in terms of on certain things that he says, but I wouldn't put him necessarily as a flat earther. But what do y'all think about that, man? Because I think he's more frustrated about his family being the ones that are turned back. But I mean, I feel like they were doing their job, from a standpoint of the rules that have been put in place at Disney World. Like, I don't know, I can kind of see it both ways. Jay Diff, what do you think about him, man, in terms of what he said in regards to them being turned away? Especially with his little cousin.
Are we sure the kid was 2?
Let me see. Let me double check.
His Waffle House pimp says that the kid was old as hell and that it was on the news here in Chicago.
Well,
that changes the whole discussion.
Well, it says not to mention that kids under 2, but I don't think it was in regards to his cousin.
I don't think the kid was 2.
I don't think the kid was 2 that he's
I think his
cousin
was a grown kid.
Yeah, his cousin's older.
Okay.
But he's still autistic. Yeah, he's still autistic.
I see.
Yeah, to speak on it, I think Joey Badass was speaking out of emotion from having his little cousin denied entry. Unfortunately, with him being handicapped, everybody doesn't know that. Like, and everybody knows that. No, well, everybody doesn't know, but autistic people have different things that may trigger them. And in this case, it was the mask. And unfortunately, in these times that we live in right now, the mask is required to go to certain places, especially a public place like a amusement park. I'm pretty sure they're limiting how many people they're even letting in. He said he was with 30 people.
Right.
And unfortunately, people that work there are instructed to follow certain guidelines and procedures. And technically, you can't be discriminatory toward one person. Say, well, okay, you don't have to wear a mask because you're autistic, but this other person has to wear a mask. That's a whole barrel of worms in itself. It can get them in trouble for doing something like that. So I understand it kind of both ways as far as how he's upset that happened to his cousin. I mean, I sympathize with his cousin for that, but he has to understand what's going on. And we're in the middle of a global pandemic, which is, from what I'm hearing, it's supposed to be coming to an end here pretty soon, but that's not facts either. That's just hearsay.
Yeah, I'm gonna air quote that one because
that's just hearsay because people are gonna do what they want to do, regardless. And as far as social distancing being, what did he say?
Inhumane.
I believe the quote inhumane.
I mean, or so you might have another autistic person that doesn't want to be around people at all. So is that being inhumane? This an individual doesn't want to be around people, but this one that doesn't want to be around people can't, because if he wears a mask, he has a panic attack or whatnot. I mean, it kind of goes both ways. You can't really say that it's humane because technically trying to save lives,
right?
Technically, you know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, so
I think you hit the nail on the head.
Jump in there, Lone.
He was just kind of going through an emotional moment, where he was, probably upset at what was going on. But I mean, the facts of the matter, we're still in a global pandemic. You're going to a theme park with over 30 people. even for his safety, if he doesn't want to wear a mask, then, you know, you probably knew that going into the theme park. You probably knew that was going to be an issue, most likely, you know? So, and to
at least had to anticipate it.
Yeah, I mean, you would already know that. I mean, Terry hit the nail on the head with all that stuff. I mean, I worked with kids with special needs for over 5 years, you know, in my mid-20s, and it's one of those things where it's like, it sucks that we are in a pandemic and that he didn't like the mask and it was triggering to him, but at the same time, we are in a pandemic, so, you know. In this particular instance, I don't really fault what was going on, you know, with them enforcing the rules. And to say social distancing is inhumane, I understand that sentiment as well, but it's just where we're at right now, you know. So, buck up, Bart. So that's all I
Bart,
can
there it
say.
is from Lone. Jay Moore, what you think about Joey's takes?
Look, I empathize with him. I realized he was doing a family outing, but the thing is, you know, say his nephew who didn't, you know, wear a mask because of, you know, autism or whatever, say he gets COVID while he's at Disney World.
Right.
You know, and then it can, you know, then you got to understand a lot of people are companies and private businesses. They want you to wear a mask out of straight up liability.
Yep.
Okay. They do not want you to come into their place of business and you leave with COVID. And then it's like, well, why didn't you tell them to wear a mask? Isn't that the mask? Don't you have a mask mandate from here? But like, oh no, we made an exception for this one person. And then, you know, that one person might, you don't know who they may have gotten sick. I mean, look, we're all frustrated by what we've had to deal with during this pandemic. Look, here we are. It's been a good year now that we've been doing this show virtually. I think we would all much rather be in the same room together, you know, but that's just not what it is for right now. You know, basically we don't want to get each other sick. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's only one of us that, you know, has, you know, kids, but I'm not trying to like send Terry home. Like if we're just like, oh, we're just hanging out and, you know, one of us cough and then his whole house is infected. Like, it's all very inconvenient, but honestly, we've all had to live with a certain level of inconvenience. I'm nothing against Joey Badass, but like, come on, fam. Like, you think you're the only one that's had to deal with something during the course of this year? Like, we've all been put out by this pandemic. You know, we've all been inconvenienced. And, you know, like I said, I feel for his cousin or his nephew, you know, his cousin. But at the same time, fam, it's like, look, you know, you got to read the room. We've all been in a situation to where this is made us uncomfortable. We haven't been able to do the thing exactly the way we want to do them. But you got to understand, they're not just being mean. There's no conspiracy about you having to put a mask on your cousin or nephew or whatever. We're all going through it right now, and yes, and to a certain extent, social distancing has had us all feeling some kind of way, but it's just
100%.
It's necessary for what it is that we're going through right now. And like I said, you're talking to a lot of people who don't even have the wherewithal and the resources, not only to travel, but certainly not to travel to Disney World. So I get it, but at the same time, man, you got to read the room.
Yeah, he came in there like Lone said, you know, you come in 30 deep. You gotta already know, like, you know,
like you already taking a risk that I don't understand.
Yeah, like
he brought the whole Wu-Tang clan with him after he quit the role of
the B lists and everything.
Yeah, all the producers, all the producers, Lone Love, man, all the subgroups and, you know, the Black Knights and all them was in there. So he definitely brought everybody with him. I feel you.
Man, the Wu Gambinos.
Yeah.
Everybody was here.
Hey.
Silver rings.
Hey, you grown for saying Wu Gambinos. You grown for saying that. That's real right there.
Yeah, 𝐾𝐃e𝐃 was there. I mean, everybody was there.
Shout out to 𝐾𝐃e𝐃. Hold on, wait a minute. I fool with 𝗀𝗄𝐲, but you know, we ain't gonna talk about my man verse on Black Shampoo. I'm gonna leave that alone. You know what I'm saying? Cause I'm you know, I love the woo, but I was cool on that. All right, man. So I think Joey it's just a little more about the emotions of the moment and him being with his family, I think, because
if you've enjoyed this segment of the New Old Heads podcast, make sure to join our live show every Tuesday from 9 to 11 p.m. Eastern on twitch.tv/newoldheads. And we invite you to join our hip hop community on Discord. Access it by going to newoldheads.com/community for talks on hip hop, sports, music, news, and everything else.